choices for you and your family. Cook it, give it. You'll love when you live it. L-I-V-E, live it.
Welcome everybody. My name's Andrea Miller and I'm a registered dietitian and certified diabetes educator at Community Hospitals and Wellness Centers in Bryan. And I'd like to welcome you all to Live It Green Eggs and Ham. We're going to have a fun demonstration today. I have Rick Thornmeyer with me. He's facilities director here at the hospital, and he's going to be helping me to make some fun green eggs and ham themed recipes. We're going to do a couple different things with our green eggs and ham, and of course this is in honor of Dr. Seuss's birthday tomorrow. It's been Right to Read week. They've been doing a lot of fun things at the school. I know my son had green eggs and ham in his preschool class yesterday, but ours are going to be just a little bit different. So who wants to guess what we're putting in our green eggs and ham instead of food coloring? Spinach. Of course, you can see the lovely green spinach that we have in front of us. So we're going to make it a little bit healthier by adding a nutrient-dense vegetable to our green eggs and ham. So, well, I guess before we get started, I have one question. Rick.
Yes.
Do you like green eggs and ham?
I'm not a big egg eater, but I'll try anything.
Okay. Will you eat them in a tree?
Absolutely. It's the only place I would.
Or in a house, or in a box, or with a fox?
Well, probably not with the fox.
Okay.
Enough animals in my own house.
All right. So if you haven't read Green Eggs and Ham with your kids, I really love the message of the book. I've actually done some fun stuff with a similar recipe before with Healthy Kids Day at the Y. You know, for kids and adults, it's hard sometimes to try new things. And green eggs and ham, I think, if you really dig a little bit deeper, it's all about trying new things. Of course, Sam I Am doesn't want to try green eggs and ham, and he goes through, you know, the whole book about, you know, he's not going to eat it. And then finally, when he does try green eggs and ham, he finds out that he really does like it. So we talk about that with my kids all the time. And Rick, you have a couple kids of your own. How many monkeys do you have?
4 of them.
4 monkeys. And of course, one of the recipes that we're doing today is a Thornmeyer household special. So you'll see that here shortly as well. So let's get started cooking. We're going to use an interesting ingredient today. We're going to do some sweet potato toast. And no, it is not mashed up sweet potato on top of toast. The sweet potato is actually the toast. So we're actually going to cook it in the toaster. All you need is a sweet potato, and it needs to be washed and dried very well. We're not going to take the skin off, so you want to make sure the skin is nice and clean, and a very sharp chef knife or a mandolin slicer. I prefer a chef knife just because I have a little bit more control over it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by cutting off a couple of the ends. And if you're cutting off too much, because I like these slices to be kind of uniform. If you start cutting off too much of the sweet potato, I always just save the extra pieces and use them in something else. Dice them up and use them in a different recipe because I hate wasting things. Okay, so this is the hardest part of today, slicing the sweet potato. So I'm probably not going to talk for a second here. So you need them very thin. You need them to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. Actually, what I might do, sometimes it's easier if you have a flat edge to lay the sweet potato down to cut it. So I think I'm actually going to do that, lay it down on the flat end, and just start making very thin slices. Just about that thick. So that's pretty good there. So they're pretty thin, but not super, super thin. So we're going to make a couple of those. Have to get the knife going in the right direction here. So don't attempt to use one of these to do this.
No
You need
paring
one
knife.
of these. You need a very sharp chef knife. So we have 2. I need at least 4 out of the sweet potato. So my sweet potato that I was using was kind of long and skinny, but you could use like a fatter sweet potato and slice it the other way. I'm slicing it lengthwise, but you could slice it widthwise too. Okay, so I'm just going to do one more slice here.
I was excited when Andrea told me sweet potatoes because my kids love them. But we always just buy the microwavable ones at Walmart,
don't like that
and then
one
they
much.
mash them up and eat them all the time. So
Yeah.
and they put all kinds of stuff on them. I'll put honey and peanut butter and lots of
Yep.
butter and brown sugar and
Trim
who
that
knows
off
what
a little
else
bit.
they can come up with. Sometimes it's just whatever's laying on the table. But so this is something new. We'll see how they like it when we
Kind
get
of
home.
doing a fillet technique here to get this. Of course, you know, I have a hard time cutting the sweet potato perfectly on when I'm
Close
being
enough.
recorded.
It's
Close enough.
close
A
enough.
little bit thicker than I would normally do. But okay, so now, well, a couple steps here, a couple options. There are a lot of different ways that you could accomplish this. The goal is to get it toasted on both sides. And we're going to use just a plain old toaster, but you could start them off in the oven, and that's going to shorten the toasting period. So you could set them on a wire rack placed on top of a cookie sheet. The idea here is to get hot air flowing on top and underneath, because if they're sitting directly on the cookie sheet, sometimes they can get a little bit soggy, which isn't really that big of a deal, but we're trying to accomplish a toasted sweet potato on both sides. So what I usually do is I would pop this into a 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes. And it doesn't cook completely, but then I'm going to finish it off in the toaster, and it's going to shorten the toasting time. I haven't tried it, but I would think you could also pop this under the broiler and broil it on one side for a few minutes, flip it over, and then broil it on the other side. I've also heard that you can cook it in a skillet. So lots of different ways that you could cook the sweet potato. But I'm just going to take these and I'm going to pop them in a toaster. So yeah, you can put them raw into the toaster and they will cook. It's going to take a couple of cycles on the highest setting, but they will cook. Okay, so we're going to watch those and let them cook a little bit. And while those are cooking, we're going to get started on our green eggs and ham. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn on my gas range. And it's a rare occasion that I use butter, but we're going to use butter to cook our eggs because, I mean, that's really how eggs are cooked best, right?
It is.
So I'm just going to take a small amount of butter.
You want a couple of these scrambled?
Yeah, so I'm going to have Rick take 3 of our eggs. We're going to use one of the eggs for another purpose. So we're going to take 3 of our eggs and crack them into a bowl and whip them up. All right. So our butter is starting to melt. So one of the reasons why I decided to go this route for today's Live It, it was actually just a happy coincidence that it was Dr. Seuss's birthday this week. It always tends to work out like that, I suppose. But the reason why I chose this is because I was working with some high school students recently and doing some cooking demonstrations like that, or for them. And they asked me, what do you do when you don't have an hour to cook at night? What are your simple go-to recipes that are quick and easy and doesn't require an hour worth of preparation and cooking? So this is something that I would do at home because a lot of these ingredients, especially eggs, I always have on hand. So some simple ingredients that are easy to have on hand and easy to throw together a healthy meal. So I'm going to take my spinach and throw that into the hot skillet with a little bit of butter and just kind of cook it lightly. The goal is to start wilting down the spinach, and it'll wilt pretty quickly.
Do you warm the tortillas up, or do you use them?
Yep, we will warm the tortillas up in a second, yep. So, and actually so I have my sweet potatoes here, and they popped up, and they're obviously not done yet, so we're going to push them back down and keep cooking them. So I'm starting to cook my spinach, and I'm going to add in my ham now. So you can't have green eggs and ham without the ham, but of course if you are like a vegetarian or just don't want to use ham, you don't have to. You could stick to just the spinach. So this is going to cook really quickly. Okay, I think we're ready for our eggs. So I'm going to pour that in there. And then we're going to start warming our tortillas.
When we moved into our new facility, I was a little worried about Bob. Bob really loved our temporary office pod. In fact, he was so comfortable, it was a bit concerning. The good news is that Bob has really embraced our new building and has seemed to settle into his new surroundings here at Bryan Ford Lincoln. Now I have a new concern. What's that old saying? People in glass offices should not wear bathrobes? We make buying a vehicle very comfortable here at Bryan Ford Lincoln.
So if you just want to let's just put one in there for now.
Okay.
So today's recipes are less of recipes and more of ideas, because there are a lot of different things that you can do with these ideas, kind of customizing them to make them your own. Our audience has the recipes, and there are a lot of different ideas on the bottom of the recipes, and I gave them all fun names. So our sweet potato toast, one of them is going to be the Sam I Am sweet potato toast, and then the taco that we're making is going to be the Sam I Am taco with our green eggs and ham. Okay, so we're going to push those down again. Basically, you just keep pushing them down until they're starting to toast and brown on the sides. All right, and I'm actually going to just turn off the eggs here. So you just need them cooked through. Rick, how do you like your eggs cooked?
I'm eating them scrambled.
You like them scrambled?
Yep.
For me, it just depends. I like them all different ways. Okay, so there's our green eggs and ham. And like I said, we're going to use those in a couple different ways. So one of the ways is for an egg taco. So I have corn tortillas. And I really like the combination of eggs in a corn tortilla. So there's actually a picture of huevos rancheros, which is Mexican for eggs something or other.
Eggs in tortilla shells, right?
Is that what ranchero?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I took Spanish. So. But I know huevos is eggs.
There you go.
I've got that. So, so we have our warm tortilla. The thing with corn tortillas is you really do want to warm them up before you fold them, because if you try to fold up a cold corn tortilla, it's just going to split in half. So it has to be warmed through pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to take some of our green eggs and ham and put that right in the middle of the egg. So again, lots of different ways that you can accomplish the egg taco, but this is just one idea.
It's much more appealing than the green eggs and ham in the book.
Yeah.
It looks a lot
It is.
nicer.
So yeah, it's not going to be the actual green ham and green eggs that you see in the picture.
Yes.
But you can still call it green eggs and ham, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
So in this one, I'm actually going to ask for some audience assistance. We have some smoked paprika on this side there. I'm going to ask for someone to hand me that. So we're going to use a little bit of avocado on this one. So I have a green avocado to check if the avocado is ripe. If it kind of gives a little bit with your thumb, then it's ripe. Another way is to take off this little, the part of the stem here. Our potatoes are still cooking away in there. And if it's green, then it's, it's a good avocado. Okay, and this you do usually want a paring knife for. So I split it down the middle, twist it apart. And then I'm going to actually just scoop out the whole thing because we're going to use a couple of slices today. Just take a spoon and kind of run it around the edge, maybe. And I'm going to put that on my cutting board and just do a couple of slices to set on my egg taco. And then a little bit of smoked paprika. You know what, before I do that, I think we need a little bit of cheese on here, don't you?
Sure.
What is an egg taco without cheese? So maybe just a little
Absolutely.
sprinkle of cheese on the top. Perfect. And a little bit of smoked paprika. So again, that's what I would do. A really pretty taco there. I mean, what did it take us to just make that?
Less
I mean,
than
that
5
was
minutes, I'd
yeah.
say.
So pretty easy. Okay, so the next one. Actually, we're going to use this pan to make our over easy. That's how I usually do things.
That's how I was doing it too.
My hand. Some people might be a little bit nervous about putting their hand into a hot skillet, but
We
it's
did
just
wash our hands before we
Yes.
arrived.
And nobody's actually eating this, so maybe I will. But okay, so we have a second tortilla warming in here while our sweet potatoes are still starting to toast. They're starting to get a little bit brown in there. And we're going to do our other egg as well, but we're going to do an over easy type of egg for our next taco. And actually for this one, I think let's just put a little bit of cheese right on the tortilla that's starting to warm up. So it gets a little bit melted. So this one I call the Andrea because this is the type of egg taco that I would typically do on a busy night when I don't have time to cook. So what do we have tonight? Egg tacos. And for my little ones, because I have a 2- and a 4-year-old, sometimes they prefer something like this a little more deconstructed. So I'll give them a little bit of cheese, and then I will just put the tortilla, I'll warm the tortilla and kind of tear that into pieces for them, and then eggs on the side because have you ever watched, I mean, you've watched your kids try to eat tacos when they're really young. It's not always pretty.
Our kids actually like it when we scramble the egg and use it as, roll it up. Cheese
Okay.
in it or ham in it
Yeah,
and stuff in it.
right.
And instead of even getting that tortilla out.
Nice. Okay, so we have a hot skillet, getting some, it is a really hot skillet. Might even just turn it off. Little butter going in there. The egg. So my egg cooking skills, I wouldn't say, they're my finest cooking trait, but I do the best I can. And I usually get the job accomplished, but
Our March Markdown sales event is going on now at Bryan Ford Lincoln. I invite you to stop out in between the ball games to see some tremendous deals. Save $5,500 on an Escape, just $20,900, well equipped. Lease an all-wheel drive Edge for just $276 a month. Save $8,000 on a brand new Explorer. Even the totally redesigned Expedition is discounted $4,000 at Bryan Ford Lincoln.
okay. So over easy, technically you just let the white set and then you flip it over to get the other side cooked. I like mine kind of in the middle. I like my yolk cooked a little bit. I don't like it, I like it maybe a little bit runny, but not super runny. But you're a scrambled guy anyway,
I am,
so.
for the most part.
Yeah, so you could do a scrambled with the Andrea too. You can cook your egg any way you want for this, so.
The modified Andrea
The
then?
modified Andrea. I'm gonna go check on our sweet potatoes one more time. All right. Hopefully they're still heating in there. Press that down or what? You know what, I'm gonna turn that up a little bit. All right. And I did turn my heat off over here on my eggs, so let's see, where is my flipper? We'll use this. Okay. Now it's really cooking. So eggs are a great protein source to have on hand for those busy nights. I mean, it's something that I pretty much always have in my refrigerator. How about you?
Absolutely.
Yep, and you know, a lot of times every other protein source, it's either at the grocery store or it's in your freezer.
Yep.
So it's kind of hard to do that quickly. All right.
During basketball and swim season, we go through a lot of eggs.
Cross-country season,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
Easy dinner.
Flip that over. Exactly. And you know, the breakfast for dinner thing is a common thing to do when you're busy, but sometimes the breakfast for dinner, the thing that you're missing out on is vegetables.
Yep.
And if you didn't have vegetables for breakfast either, then you're really cutting it short on your vegetable intake for the day. So with these recipes, we're adding some vegetables into that breakfast for dinner to make it a healthier option for those busy meals, busy night meals. All right. So that's, still waiting on the eggs. We're going to check on the sweet potatoes again. We're going to call that good enough for most of them. So I might cook those a little bit longer at home, but for time purposes, there they are. We will cut it short. And I'm gonna, perfect. Get that on there. So the Andrea has, of course, avocado. It's not slicing very well. We'll put some avocado on there. And a couple, well, first we'll do the sriracha. I think sriracha is a perfect combination for eggs. Not open.
Comes sealed direct from the store.
Okay.
The sriracha is pretty hot, so
It
you don't
is.
want to go
But I
too
like
heavy.
spicy.
Okay.
I like spicy things. So, and then a couple or a sprig of cilantro. So there's my 2 different egg tacos. And let's get started on our sweet potato toast. All
Do you
right,
want me to
Rick.
set these over here for now,
Sure.
or on the end, or
I'm going to have you build the monkey.
okay?
So that's a layer of peanut butter. Actually, while you're at it, we're going to do the monkey and we're going to do my favorite, the crunchy hippie.
All right.
So
So
I'm going to
peanut
have
butter.
you spread peanut butter on both of those.
I'm familiar with monkeys, so I know the peanut butter there. But does yours get a lot of peanut butter or a little peanut butter?
I like quite a bit of peanut butter.
All right.
Because that's, you know, that's the protein in this version. So I like quite a bit of peanut butter on mine.
They did cook pretty well in the toaster too.
Yeah. So,
All right.
okay. Again, I'm used to my toaster at home. When I cook them at home, it gets a little bit darker than this one, but I haven't used this toaster before, so we're learning. But again, I do like to pre-cook them a little bit at home in the oven to shorten that time, because it did take quite a while in the toaster. Okay, so I'm going to start on the Sam I Am. Let's see, Rick, I'm going to have you hand me another spoon over there.
Yes.
Okay, so we have the base layer of the monkey and the crunchy hippie. So let's add a little bit of banana to the one and a drizzle of honey. Starting with our green eggs and ham. And then the avocado. and some smoked paprika. Right, so we have the monkey and the Sam I Am, and then the crunchy hippie just needs a little bit of granola.
That seems to make sense.
Yes, granola. And at home, I would put a little bit of chia seed on it as well. And then the next one, we're going to do a cheesecake-themed sweet potato toast. So we have some cream cheese. And I'm going to sneak behind you and grab the strawberries. Let's see, I'm also going to steal your paring knife here.
Oh, help yourself.
These are really good strawberries. They're super red all the way through. And strawberries are coming into season right now, starting to grow in the Florida area, California area, so they should be in grocery stores from the U.S. here pretty soon and in the coming months. So lots of strawberries in the near future. All right, so we have all 4 of our sweet potato toasts done. We have our monkey with peanut butter, banana, and honey, and our crunchy hippie with peanut butter, granola, and again, I would add chia seeds, and our cheesecake with cream cheese and strawberries. And you could also add some jam to that if you wanted to sweeten it up a little bit. And then the Sam I Am for our green eggs and ham with some avocado and some smoked paprika. Some other ideas for toppings for sweet potato toast. Apples with cinnamon would be another really good topping. And then some people put hummus on it with other vegetables like cucumbers, olives, things like that.
So it's a good vessel for about anything.
Just about, yeah. So another good thing about the sweet potato toast for people that are gluten intolerant, this would be a way for them to enjoy the toast toppings without the bread. So yeah, just a way to get a lot of different vegetables into a quick meal. It's kind of fun for kids this way because you could, have all of the toppings out and they could put whatever they wanted on their sweet potato toast. So great for a busy night or really any time of the day. I would eat this for a snack or breakfast or lunch or bedtime, any time of the day.
They'd be good appetizers at a party even.
They would. They're so pretty. So
awesome.
So thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Rick, for joining me.
Thanks for having me
This is
back.
actually your second appearance on Live It, so we enjoyed having you again, and I hope you enjoy making your own sweet potato toast at home. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah. You probably could, but if you used white potatoes, I think you'd be limited to more savory types of toppings. So I don't think a white potato would be good with like peanut butter or...
They're pretty watery in the
Yeah.
toaster. You probably would want to use just the oven with that.
Yeah, good point. I don't use a lot of white potatoes at home. I stick to mostly sweet potatoes, but it'd always be something worth trying. I haven't tried it myself, but go home and try some new things on your own. So that's the best part of life, trying new things. Any other questions? All right, thanks for coming, guys.